You are now tuned in to the GNWY podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Generation Y podcast. Do not forget to like, rate, review, subscribe, do all of the things so we can be able to get people's stories out more effectively and efficiently so then people can receive purpose, okay? And today we have none other than Miss Oklahoma. Okay, all the way from we'll call you the Miss Everything. Okay,
That's
we'll put
right.
it on everything.
I love it.
Ashley Erhart, everybody
Yes.
make some noise. Okay, yes, okay. She coming in already dropping bombs, and
thanks.
we're very excited for you to be here.
Awesome.
So
Thank you for having
coming.
me.
Yes.
I'm pumped. I think this will be exciting.
It is exciting. We're honored, and so first of all, I mean, apparently, and we were talking about this before we even started. We've known each other for a minute,
Right.
then, apparently.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I feel like I've known you longer. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I think I win. If this was a competition, I would take the crown.
Are you a pretty competitive person?
Very competitive?
Obviously.
Extremely.
Because
Yes.
you won
Yes.
Miss Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, you and I go way back, whether
That's
you know it or
great.
not.
Right. And so I'm excited. Okay, for one, you started out as the Thunder Girl, right?
Yes.
Or a Thunder Girl, yeah.
Yes. It depends on how you want to look at it.
Let's
So,
do your timeline.
let's
Tell
do it.
us about
Let's do it.
Ashley, please.
I am from the heart of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Technically from Edmond, but you
Okay.
know, it kind of all blends together.
Yep.
I graduated high school and decided to run track at a junior college in El Dorado, Kansas.
Long distance or short?
Short. I was a
Okay.
sprinter.
Wow.
I couldn't go past a 400. I just didn't have it in me.
What was your time?
11.9.
Whoa.
I was pretty quick.
Wow.
I was pretty quick.
I was pretty
Running
quick,
that
yeah.
100. I was the lead leg in college for our women's 4x1.
Yeah.
After that, I decided to dance. So I went to Arkansas State and danced for 3 years there. But I quickly realized not having a athletic scholarship, college was expensive and I needed a way to pay for it. So I decided to compete in pageants.
Wow.
And so I competed in the Miss America organization, which is the largest scholarship provider for young women in the country.
Yeah.
Got my schooling paid for, and it was a huge blessing. So pageants was overlapping with dance and college, and then I finished all of those things and graduated, moved back to Oklahoma, and I missed dancing. I was still competing in pageants, but I missed dancing. So I decided to try out for the Thunder Girls, and thankfully made it. Actually had to leave auditions early to go compete in a pageant. So it's always, like you said, miss everything. It's always been everything. But yeah, so pageants and dance both kind of have always been a part of my life, and they've intertwined. Sometimes a little too close, but it's been great.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you came in here and your phone's still going.
Yes,
so,
I was taking phone calls on my way in.
You are getting pulled one way and the other.
Yes.
So how long have you been with the Thunder?
So this will be my second season. I completed my first season
crazy.
last year.
Okay, yeah.
This will be my second year with the
And for
Thunder.
everybody that doesn't know, that is not stopping while you are Miss Oklahoma.
Right, yeah.
So you are doing everything. While and you're doing appearances, doing everything.
Well, I am. I actually have
That's
practice
crazy.
tonight. I have an appearance with the Thunder on Friday, and had an appearance as Miss Oklahoma USA on Friday as well. And they were going to end up overlapping. Thankfully, the one with the pageants, they pulled out and needed some time to adjust their schedule, which works nicely for me because now I'm not double booked. Because I don't know who I was going to tell, hey, I'm not going to make it. But yeah, they're both very much coinciding, but the Thunder has been extremely supportive. Very patient, very understanding for, this once in a lifetime opportunity that I've been given.
Right. Yeah, that's super exciting. So first of all, I mean, I met you, I've seen you, okay, at the gym, me and my best friend Stuart, okay, shout out to
Stuart.
We're always, the people think that we really don't work out, but we do, okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Okay.
So for all the naysayers, I've seen
we
it with
got
my
the
own 2
endorsement
eyes.
by Miss Oklahoma. We do be working out. But so yeah, we saw you and we were like, she looks famous. Like she's got to be doing something with her life. And then so we were like, going about our workout. We're like, we got it. So we saw you at the Thunder, or not at the Thunder, but the Thunder posted you.
Right.
And then we did our rabbit trail.
Yep.
All that kind of thing. And then realized that you're just dope. Okay.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
yeah. And then we just randomly went up to you at the gym and we're like, hey, you're dope. We do a nonprofit. Boom, boom, boom. And so now we're here.
Look at it.
Yeah, look at it. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Would you just look at it? Yes. And you are funny, by the way.
Oh,
so
good.
Earlier, you were wondering if you are.
Right.
You are funny, Taylor. She's funny, right?
For sure.
He's
Absolutely.
For
He
sure.
said for sure.
Good.
Yes.
That's always my biggest fear. And my sense of humor sometimes is so dry.
Same.
And it comes out so quick and so
That's the best type of humor, though.
I agree.
really is.
100%.
That's why I feel like we get along really well.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And yeah, so
Can I join the gang?
Join the gang.
100%.
Be the trio.
We could be the
1000%.
everything.
The comedian. The everythings. Write that down. Somebody make note of that.
You got it right now.
Yeah, timestamp that, Taylor. Right? But yeah, so I can't remember what we were talking about before, but I was just really, I thought it was dope. And then that was another thing. And then there was a video I think that you posted. I think you were you in the Capitol or something doing some like.
Oh yeah. Well, the video is so funny. Like that video specifically that you're talking about is my mom being recognized. Like in that video is what's happening, but the post itself, this past February 14th actually was not Valentine's Day in my world. Okay. It was Ashley Erhart Day. I was right. Is that the one you're talking about?
I don't know. Because I thought that you were doing something like standing up for.
Was I wearing a yellow dress? Do you remember? Again,
girl,
I remember photographic memory.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably. That's probably what it was. It would have been the most recent thing in the Capitol.
Okay, maybe.
But I was recognized by Governor Kevin Stitt and Representative Nicole Miller for the work that I've done in the state of Oklahoma and beyond, really, for just advocating for mental health.
That's it.
So February 14th.
Because I saw the mental health, and that's where I was like, this is why. Yes,
I love it.
Yeah. So tell us what was that process like? So you just be doing your stuff, okay, and you're just going about regular life, and you're like, I'm cool and I'm impacting people. So then they just hit you up and be like, you know what, Ashley, we need to recognize that.
Yeah.
Like, what was that about?
So that's essentially how it happened. I started, February of 2016. Yeah, sorry, trying to get my numbers right.
Right after you graduated, yes.
Well, yeah, so right after I graduated high school, February of 2016, I was diagnosed with depression. And at the time, I was a college athlete. I was from Edmond, Oklahoma. I was raised by my mom, who was very loving, very supportive, gave me quite literally the world, or what she could.
Gave you everything.
Everything. That's do you title your podcast? Because if you do, I think we figured out the title. I like it.
It's
anyways,
a full circle.
Yeah. Quite literally gave me everything that she could.
Yeah.
And so I didn't think depression was something that could happen to someone like me. I was very angry, actually. I was making excellent grades. I was a college track athlete, but there was a lot of other things I didn't do. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I put very little effort into just everyday life. So once I kind of had some self-reflection, I realized that, okay, I need to do what I need to do to get myself better.
Yeah.
But also I started to realize I was not the only person. I was not the only young woman. I was not the only athlete. Yeah. I was not the only daughter, the only friend who was feeling the way that I felt.
Yeah.
And once I kind of defeated my own depression, I realized that I could help others do the same. So that's kind of where it started. And then competing in pageants, you had to have a platform, just some philanthropic effort you were passionate about.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, this could kind of work. Coined it, named it, whatever you want to call it, Defeating Depression, Promoting a Healthy Mind, and just ran with it. Traveled all over the state of Arkansas, met with schools, teachers, administrators, counseling centers, anyone who would listen about just how to be mentally healthy. Yeah. And it kind of just grew from there. It became what I was known for. Yeah. And, when I moved back, I continued that work throughout Oklahoma schools. And it kind of just all came to fruition right then and there on the House floor at the state capitol. So it was
wild.
neat.
That's wild. And I think that's the reason why I even reached out, because I was like, okay, she's dope, cool, what, let her do her thing. And then I was like, okay, there's a mental health side of it. So then that's the thing that really like connected us in the sense of like, I just wanted to reach out for one, to hear like, your background, all that kind of stuff. And then also like what even drew you toward the mental health aspect, because like not a whole lot of people that because even whenever we partnered last year with Aubriana, and she was a big mental health advocate too, and we were like, this is so dope. You know what I'm saying? Like not a lot of people use that platform for like mental health,
right?
Especially like now there's a stigma around the thing, and so we're trying to as Generation Y, being able to break that stigma,
right,
and make it, able to talk about how, we feel like we're not okay, and that's okay, but not okay to stay that way, right?
Right.
So anyway, that's what drew me to, Ashley Erhart, okay?
Well, thank
and so
you.
we really appreciate, what you're doing. I know this is not the capital, but this
it's
is
close. Just
Thank
kidding.
you. It's like right under it, okay?
Yes.
It's like we're in the basement of the Capitol.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we really appreciate you,
Well,
you know what I'm
thank you.
saying, raising awareness on this, because this is a platform that not a whole lot of people use that for. So,
Right.
So with that being said, like what was, your whole, you said that you were clinically, diagnosed with depression and everything. And so like, what was your way out of it? Like, how did you realize, like, what's the turning point? And then what was the things that you implemented into your life to help make that change?
Right. So I'm very hard-headed and very stubborn.
Okay.
And I'm very independent. I want to do things on my own. I don't really want help. And I've gotten better, but especially at this time of my life, I hardly ever asked for help, just because I want to do it myself. And it almost stresses me out thinking of someone else doing something for me. Like, just let me do it myself. Don't put up my laundry because you're not going to put it up right. Like, let me help myself. So that was my mindset at that point in time. And so I would come home. So I was in Kansas. I was like 2.5 hours away. I would come home on the weekends. And my mom could see it. She could see the change in me. She would talk to me and I would tell her, I'm just feeling sad. I would never use the word depressed because, again, I thought that was something that couldn't happen to someone like me.
Right.
But she saw it and she gently continued to push me and encourage me to get help, whatever that looked like. So I'd come home. I want to say it was spring break. I was home and it came time for me to go back to school. And I told my mom, you know what? I need one more day. I'm not going. I stayed home that night, woke up the next day and didn't leave my bed. I didn't text my coaches. I didn't text my professors. I just went MIA. And then that day, I want to say it was like a Monday. Monday comes and goes. Tuesday, same thing. I said, I can't go back. Stayed in bed, didn't do anything. Wednesday, my mom came and tried to wake me up and I wasn't getting out of bed. So she laid in the bed with me and she fell asleep. And you talked about the turning point, and this I think was my turning point. She laid in bed with me and I remember waking up and I needed to go to the bathroom so bad, but I didn't want to move because I didn't want to wake her up because I didn't want her to tell me to go back to school. So I laid in bed in physical pain for like an hour, scared to even move simply because I didn't want to wake her up for her to tell me to go back to school. And so once I did move and once she did wake up, we sat down and had a very real conversation. And she kind of just bluntly told me, you have to change something. So I decided to go to counseling. And I remember sitting on the couch when my counselor said, this is what depression is, according to like the DSM, the science of it. And I would diagnose you with depression. And so that really kind of was the turning point for me. That's when I recognized what was going on. And again, like I said, it took a lot of patience. It took some time. It took some understanding that people did want to help, and I could tell them exactly what I needed. So it wasn't necessarily that people wanted to help me in their way, but I was able to say, this is what I need from you. This is the help that I need. So once I grasped that and realized what I needed and was able to ask for that help and kind of got out of that, I can do it myself mindset, that's when it really all started to change for me. I remember walking out of my last session with this therapist and it like literally felt like the world was brighter. And I even wrote it this in a journal. I was reading it the other day, that it like I literally felt like the blinds had been opened and life was just brighter. But it's been a journey ever since that point. It's definitely not, you reach the peak and you stay there forever and life is great and things are grand. But yeah, that was really the turning point for me, where I recognized that I had something I needed help with, and then I learned how to ask for that help.
Definitely. I think even like our body reacts really differently, obviously, with because even whenever I think, like, obviously the college years is something that a lot of people overlook in that age group, because like you're being thrown into the real world, right? And so a lot of people like really just don't know how to navigate through that, and so they think no sleep, no, everything's a go, everything, and then that's kind of like what social media promotes is like, if you don't stop, then your life is gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's like, no, for real, like mental health is knowing that balance of sleep, eat, and take care of yourself, so you can be able to do these things. Absolutely. And so so it's very interesting, and I feel like that's why mental health has become such a big thing, is because we have lost balance of life,
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so do you ever experience, like, because even now you're talking to me about like how busy you are and getting called left and right and all that kind of stuff. How do you navigate it now?
So
that was pretty heavy. I'm sorry.
No. I think it's truly taking it all one day at a time, because I've stepped into this role as Miss Oklahoma USA, and it's a job. I've signed contracts that state this is your expectations, this is your role, this is what you'll do, and it's great, and that's what I wanted, that's what I've worked for. But it's a lot. It takes a lot of balancing, because it is so busy, it is so hectic, and if I am not in control of just what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what's going on, it quickly falls apart, because I don't have, if I don't already have a good foundation, it's moving so fast that, like, if the foundation's not already built, things are just falling through the cracks. So for me, how I balance it, I mean, I hate to say that I don't, but I mean, I guess I technically do, but what I mean by I don't is every day it's something new. Right. So it's like, I can't necessarily say I'm balancing it, because I don't know what that day is going to bring. Right. Of course I can plan and I can prepare, but like I was saying earlier, I there was a point on Friday where I was double booked. I can't balance that. I can't be in two places at the same time. They were about an hour apart, so I was even trying to navigate, like, okay, can I be a little late to this one? Can I tell this person to, like, wait on me? So it's not that I don't balance it, but it's just taking it truly one day at a time, and knowing every day looks different, and not to have expectations of other people, and sometimes not to have expectations of myself. Sometimes I set a plan of, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to knock this out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then when I wake up, I just don't feel that. I don't have the energy, I don't have the strength. And instead of pushing myself to an unrealistic point, I just have to accept, okay, you know what? I can't get these things done today. So I think balancing it is a continuous learning process. Every day.
Definitely. That's fire. I think the expectation that you hit it on the head, because I'm a big person on, like, I would rather be surprised at, for one, either myself or other people to, like, over exceed themselves than me having a high expectation and always being let down. You know what I'm saying?
I have to ask real quick. Do you know your Enneagram number?
6.
What about you?
7.
7? I can see that.
What are you?
I don't know much about 6s. 4.
What is it for?
Very much me. Very, like, creative and reflective.
Julian's a 4.
Oh, okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm a 4. Sorry, I just had to ask. I was just wondering. But
okay, so you should say creative and what?
Like, reflective and, like, often described as, like, moody, but more of, like, somber, just sad, just very on brand.
But I've heard very not emotional, intentional.
Yeah, intentional for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe a little emotional. For being honest.
A 6 is a loyalist. So,
okay, right.
Yeah, really. I can't remember all of the ones, but I just know the number.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then 7, you're like
party,
adventurous, right?
Yeah. Down for a good time.
Yeah.
You're all about
fearless.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to start counting how many times.
right. On the recap, it's just ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I just see so many because even Generation Y even started and still exists is like, you know, during 2017 the statistics ramped up we went from 32nd to the third leading state in the nation for teen suicide, right? And so whenever all that happened, you know, we were like, we've got to do something.
Yeah.
And I have way too many talented friends not to. And so we were like, let's just go into the schools and see what happens. And then it just evolved from there.
Yeah.
And so, and the biggest thing that we've noticed even as of recently is like just the talk about, you know, mental health has become kind of so trendy that like other people don't believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
And so it's like, if you talk about it too much, then everybody sees it as a just another topic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that it's like those people deal with it.
So
you know
I was literally thinking about this, I think yesterday, and I was like, okay, I'm just trying to like look at this from an outside perspective. Mental health is now a conversation that's happening.
Yeah.
But why are people still struggling? If there's so much, and then I was like, I don't necessarily think, and of course I think this is obvious. Like the stigma has not been eradicated. Like it's still very much a stigma, but I think the stigma has now shifted. So it's not that people are afraid to talk about it. It's that people expect, because people are talking about it, that it's not going to happen. So for instance, like in my role as Miss Oklahoma USA, no one expects Miss Oklahoma USA to be suffering with depression. Because she's Miss Oklahoma USA. She's going to compete on a national stage on live television.
She should be feeling great about herself.
She should be on cloud nine. Like, and so it's like, I think the stigma, like let's say there was like a circle and the stigma was in the middle and like everybody was like targeting this one circle, it like shifted and now the circle's over here. And so now it's like, okay, now we need to go and like target. You see what I'm saying?
I see
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Visually,
Am
I see what you're saying.
painting the picture?
Yeah. Because I think like you, like I was saying too, is like, I mean, you see this whole topic, and it's a heavy topic, and like it's a whole change and shift, and for one, culture, conversations, all these things, and like especially within Oklahoma, like it's still, we're relatively small, in the sense of like what, you know, conversations we're talking about. We're behind sometimes on like how to change things and all that kind of thing. And so it's like, in regards to mental health, like we'll still go to small towns and we'll have like, if we do like parent night or something like that, and we're trying to talk about mental health and stuff, there were so many parents that would come up to us and be like, afterward, they would say, you know, before this whole, you know, event and everything that y'all did and presentation, they thought that, you know, mental health is BS. They would say these things. And then they would even say the whole fact of like, I used to think that, you know, my kid was kind of crazy,
right,
or whatever, just to even bring up the topic.
They're
not even bringing up the topic saying like, you know, I'm either just anxious, depressed, you know, suicide, all these kind of things. But they're just like saying like, I feel like I may have something in regards to the mental health, but so then they throw out the whole, you know, kid pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
throw out the whole kid.
Right, the whole kid.
Throw out the baby with the bathwater.
You got to go. But it was like they couldn't get through to their mind of like, maybe like, even thinking back then, you know what I'm saying? Like there was probably so many people that was dealing with stuff, but they couldn't, you know, put a word to it. And now we have so many words for everything.
Right.
So it's like we're labeling stuff.
Everything. You just said everything. Sorry.
Ding.
Yes. So it's like we have a label for everything. So it's like if we continue to put words to it, I feel like that does the person injustice sometimes. Because like I think like so I feel like in a way, and I used to think about this too, and it helps me to a point. So it's like they would say that like for instance, they would say, you know, for the Enneagram, you're a 6, or you're this, you're that, you're that, and I'm like, I get it and I understand it, but I feel like it's deeper now, and I feel like we don't always have to put like I think let's say just for instance the Enneagram, like it worked to a point. Now I understand that side of it, and like I can put like, okay, I understand parts of me, why I act certain way, how do I interact with certain people, why that. But now I feel like there's a deeper part of me that's like, okay, well, what's next though?
Yeah. So are you saying that, let me just make sure I understand correctly.
Yeah.
So you're saying like creating too many words or too many labels is not a good thing?
I don't know. That's what I'm like. I'm wondering what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I like to play the devil's advocate. So it's like, I like to ask
I can hit you right
questions.
back.
Boom. Let's go.
I think so it's also like a culture thing, right? So not only is my dad, I mean, in this country, people look at my dad and he's a black man. My dad's actually from Ghana, West Africa. So he's truly African. So not only do we have just like the black culture, but also the African culture as well.
Right.
And in both, mental health is like, we don't talk about it. It doesn't just absolutely not. For a lot of different reasons. There's similarities and there's difference between as far as like the black culture and the African, the actual continent of Africa. The whole place of Africa. There's similarities and there's differences.
Right.
In both, a similarity is, or at least used to be, like depression. No one said I am depressed.
Right.
But people could feel a little bit more comfortable saying, man, I'm really sad. Or I've been sad for all these days. It's a little bit less jarring for some cultures. So I'd almost say giving people different words. Oh my gosh, I feel so anxious today. You do? Tell me about that. Starting that conversation. Instead of saying, you know what? I just had a full on panic attack. I think, I might be bipolar. Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that. So I think allowing people to have different labels or words for other cultures or communities where it may not be so accepted to come out and say, my mental health is struggling. It allows people the opportunity to still have that conversation in a safe and comfortable way for them and the people in their environment. That's what I would say. But it can get confusing too, though.
I feel like that's where I'm getting at the same time, is like we interchange a lot of the same thing, but it's not meaning the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Just like you're saying about I'm feeling depressed, so I'm blank. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling sad because of whatever, and so I'm this. But it's like, okay, but what about if we just sit back and diagnose, like, okay, how are we feeling today? Like, because in 10 minutes, like, I could feel something else because of something else. You know what I'm saying? And so, and we see that so many times with the students that we dealing with, and it's like they hold on so much, and then they get more anxious because they get quote unquote labeled as something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, now we're just putting more pressure on that kid. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like being able to just like sit back, breathe a second, realize you're first of all human. We're all gonna be we get emotional, we get sad, we get all these things. Let's talk about it. There's a counselor that I've been going to. They'll hand me a feeling wheel, right? And it's like, and so like every 10, 15 minutes, she'll ask, how am I feeling? Or whenever she sees like my mood change or something like that because of, the topic that we may be talking about. She'll say, how you feeling? And then I'll have to grab that wheel and I'm like, I gotta
look.
You know what I'm saying?
I gotta do some research.
Because in that moment you're like, and there's like tons of words. And like, I didn't know this word is the generic one. Right. But now there's like 2 words that are, you know what I'm saying? You probably know. Yeah.
Right. So I worked before the job, like full-time job I have now, amongst my many other endeavors. Before this specific role, I was in special education. And I worked with high functioning autistic students, and we used that all the time, especially for these little guys who just knew that there were feelings inside of them, but needed an actual visual to see. So I love the whole feeling wheel. I've seen the books. I've seen the little like dolls where you can just hold up the doll and be like, I am sad.
right.
I'm frowning. So no, those are so beneficial. So beneficial.
Definitely. And it gives you, like you were saying, that visual of like, okay, I don't seem like I'm alone. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you are able to, and that's where I feel like I asked the whole thing about the labeling side of it, is like there are benefits and, there's pros and cons to everything. But
everything. Ding.
Dang. Wow.
I feel like we should look into the camera like The Office. What's that guy's name?
Jim or
no.
Wow. Steve Carell. What?
Michael?
Wow.
Michael.
Why did we get stumped so quick?
I like how you knew his
Did you
actor
say
name
Jim?
before his actual
Jim
name.
is the other guy.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah.
The tall,
Oh, yeah,
the
but-
taller guy.
John Whoa. I don't know how to say his
What?
last name.
We cannot be quizzed on Office right now, bro.
Dwight is this ultimate character, though.
You think he's the main character?
Well, in my world,
Okay, yeah.
technically, I guess he wouldn't be, but
I think he's funny for sure.
Yeah. I'm a big Jim fan.
big Jim fan,
Big Jim fan.
Jim guy.
Yeah,
Humor. We speak the same humor, so it works out.
Every time we say everything, though, I feel like we need an office moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. You just have the 3 cameras. Just go.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. So anyway, I just love people that are fighting for the same thing,
Yeah.
and not even just fight. You know what I'm saying? But we are come together,
Right.
And being able to impact
Yeah.
the next generation and then the generations that may be stuck.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so,
I've said all the time, and it never sounds right. So I'm currently rebranding. I'm taking this back to the drawing
Let's
room
go.
and coming up with a better way of saying this. But something I say all the time is there's community and heartbreak. There is so much strength to be found in a group of people who've experienced something similar, maybe not the same thing, but experienced loss or grief or sadness
Yeah.
or regret. There's a community in that, and it's unlike a community I've ever seen.
yeah.
But again, that doesn't really sound nice when you say there's community and heartbreak, because it's like everyone should have a broken heart so we can all be united. No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not what I'm saying. But I think there's something special about joining forces for something that you're so passionate
What's
about.
crazy is 2 weeks ago. Okay, Ashley, you ready to be Erhart away?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was fire. If you think about it, no, think about it.
Nobody laughed.
You went.
Anyways, hit me. Let's hear it.
There's community and chaos. So I thought about that 2 weeks ago because of the
Okay.
fact. Okay, if there's any like tragic, anything.
Yeah.
Whether 9/11. Think about like all these big things that have happened. Like you see the community, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We have tornadoes,
see.
and then we have people that rally around, rebuild a town. Like it's just so many things. Like there's community and chaos. That's what.
That's pretty
2
deep.
weeks ago, I thought about that.
That's pretty deep.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like it could also be a negative. Like
It
I feel like
could
there
be.
also is, which not that community and heartbreak is any better, but
Right.
but also like now that you say that, I think there's also sometimes community and chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really
It's sad.
another. Well,
but
it's like another thing to like fight against, because it's so like when things are chaotic, it's so easy to just like blend in and just
Yeah.
like go with the chaos, because chaos often moves fast.
Very fast.
Things are often shifting, like it's hard to keep up, and so sometimes it's almost easier just to like throw yourself into the chaos and just go.
Yeah.
When I mean your mental health is suffering, sometimes your physical health is suffering.
Right.
So that's a whole nother, I think, can of worms to open.
It is. It's deep.
Community and chaos, that's deep though.
It's deep.
That's
and
deep.
so
I like
I think that's why COVID really threw us off.
Oh,
You know what I'm
gosh,
saying? Because
yeah.
like there was no community.
Talk about chaos.
Yo, what? Yes.
What? How long ago was
What
that?
is-
Like
what
2
is-
years, and it feels like yesterday.
Right. And that was the time that you said that you saw.
Yeah,
us
it was
at
like
that
right
time.
before. It was like days before COVID, technically.
That's-
it was in
that's-
February.
Yeah, because and then March like we shut down.
March, it was game over.
Something like that. Yeah. Game over.
And that was intense.
That was
a little intense.
And that was crazy
It was
that it
game
happened.
paused. How about
And
that?
that was crazy that first NBA situation happened in
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. When what's his
Wild.
name? I can't even remember his name, but even if I did, I wouldn't say it. When he came back
into
this
our
season,
arena.
yeah. Well, when he came back this season, I don't think I've ever heard the Thunder crowd boo louder.
For real.
For real, like they have the Oklahoma people have not forgotten when this man
Changed
caused
the
a
nation.
scene. Yeah, right here in Oklahoma City.
Right here in Oklahoma. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
And everything shifted after that.
After that,
We almost got locked in Michigan.
really?
So we were in Michigan in March, and then we were going into a school doing an assembly.
Yeah.
We got scheduled to do 2 assemblies.
Okay.
And then the principal got the email that they can't have crowds over 100.
Oh.
So we went from doing 2 assemblies to doing 6 back to back to back to back.
Okay. Just small groups.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, well, 100, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I guess that's not necessarily small.
but the mayor of Michigan was like
The mayor of Michigan?
Well, what,
Whatever town you're in. Sorry, I had to.
or what's the
Governor?
Governor.
Oh, okay.
That's the one you're looking
Okay.
for.
Yeah.
That's why. See, Taylor.
The governor.
the governor of Michigan was starting to close borders, so nobody could go in or out.
Really?
Yeah, and we barely made it.
So y'all were really about to be just
A Michiganite, yeah.
I don't think that's what they're called, but
What would you
Wait,
call them?
they closed the
Michigonian.
borders
They
of a
almost
state?
they were
Which
talking
seems
about
a-
closing the border.
I shouldn't say that seems extreme because obviously
That feels like some Texas stuff.
yeah, it seems a bit
Yeah.
like it just seems interesting.
It was wild, but that's what was on the news at the time, and the locals were talking about it.
Yeah.
They were like, y'all need to go.
Gotta go. Can't
Right.
stay here.
Yeah, can't stay here. Yeah, it was wild. So, but anywho, so yeah, that was the that was right before
Man,
that,
COVID.
and then that's whenever you were bringing up the COVID situation. I was
Yeah.
like, or the situation that we saw each
Yeah,
other, and
yeah.
then I was like, that blew me away because I forgot that happened.
I don't forget anything.
For real.
Anything.
So a couple weeks from now, I'm gonna have to bring up everything,
Ding.
Ding. Michael moment.
and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
So what's your future plan? What's your plan
Oh,
with
man.
Oklahoma, Miss Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do?
Well, I'm a competitor and it's a competition. The next step is Miss USA.
Okay.
The Miss USA pageant.
Yeah.
It's exciting. October 3rd is the final date in Reno, Nevada. It'll be on the TV channel FYI.
Will your mom still be working at OETA?
That was years ago. She's going to watch this back and she's going to be like, explain.
Right,
and I'm going to
right,
have to tell her about her being on OETA. Was the
Are
pinnacle
you
of
an only
childhood.
child?
I am. Well,
Me
I
too.
have three half siblings.
Okay,
But I
right.
was just raised by my mom. So
Got you.
yeah, I'm
Us only
technically an
child
only
really got the
Oh, yeah.
the funniest. sense of
It was
humor.
an
You have how many?
I've got two, but they're 10 and 15 years older than me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Look at you
So
trying
most
to,
of
look
my
at you
life.
trying to act like you're an only child. You just
Most
you're just,
of my life
You're
felt
just
like
trying to
an
be
only
like
child.
us.
But you funny though. That's why I'm wondering like why the people who are alone as a kid, we are
Often
so
the
funny.
funniest,
Yes.
Truly.
I feel like y'all are the most awkward, though.
But we capitalized on it when we get older.
a little bit.
Okay.
That's what makes
Well,
it
you have
the
to like,
funniest.
you have to grow up like entertaining yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Because
Yeah.
there's no one there to entertain you. And your parents are like, leave me alone.
Right.
I'm watching the news. So.
Or Price is Right.
Or
yeah.
Price is Right.
Yeah.
Plinko.
Big time.
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh my
Man,
gosh.
you had just asked me something.
What your future
Yes,
plans are?
plans.
Reno, Nevada.
Reno, Nevada,
That's
Miss
happening.
USA. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking. It's hard. Being Miss Oklahoma
What's the difference
USA.
between that and like competing for that and what you competed for here? Is there a difference?
Rephrase.
Is there a difference between what you're about to go compete for and what you
Like,
got? How you got to Miss Oklahoma?
Okay.
Sorry.
So yes and no. So there are 51 girls, including myself. So District of Columbia also competes. So all 50 states plus District of Columbia.
Okay.
So now it's a larger scale, and all of those girls also won like their state pageant. So you're getting to like the best of the best.
Yeah, yeah.
After Miss USA is Miss Universe. So now you're really competing with the big
With
wigs.
people from Mars?
Not necessarily, but
fly 'em in?
but there
Elon.
are 80 countries that compete in Miss
80
Universe. 80
countries?
countries, right?
Jesus.
So it is a very competitive experience. But it's still the same
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as like the format of like the pageant.
I
itself,
guess I
it's still
meant
the
because
same.
earlier you said that for the Miss Oklahoma you didn't have to do the talent.
No,
portion.
so
that's what I was gonna. Sorry.
No, I did say that, but I think you misunderstood. Let me clarify.
Let's clarify it. Yeah.
The Miss America organization and the Miss USA organization are different. So Miss America has a talent. Miss USA does. I mean, she's still a talented individual,
Of course.
but
Yes.
there's not a talent phase of competition.
Got you.
So that's where it's
Yep,
different.
that's it.
But as far as like the format of the state pageant, it'll be
Yeah.
the same as at the national pageant.
Got you.
Yeah, but it's exciting.
So what are you doing to prepare for that?
Everything. It feels like.
Ding, ding, ding.
I didn't even catch that one. This is getting weird. No, but no pun intended. Everything. It's been. It's been hard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been really, really hard because and I mentioned this earlier. I've stepped onto a stage, again, no pun intended, in a pageant stage, and I now, being a state title holder, the stage has grown and the crowd has grown,
Right.
and the bigger the crowd, the louder the noise, and here recently, it's been noise I really would rather not hear. Just yesterday, the person that tagged me meant well, and I don't even think she saw the comments. But there was a post of all 51 girls and our headshots. This was on Facebook, and she tagged me in it and was like, you look beautiful, and that's great. But then I mistakenly decided to just scroll up a little bit and see the comments. Some of the most horrible things said about me, just awful. So it's not only is like the physical preparation
by like the competitors or like just random people,
by random strangers on the internet. Like,
what are they saying?
Oh, you don't even like horrible things.
Just from a headshot?
Yeah. It's not even worth discussing, to be honest. But I've been called beefy. I've been called masculine. Yeah, I get it all. And so like all of that to say,
come to OAC, okay?
Right.
And see Ashley Erhart in the gym. Okay, you will think completely different. Okay? And that's wild.
So all of that to say, the preparation
from a headshot though, that's wild.
Yeah, the comments were insane. I ended up just like, I will tell you, the block button has been my best friend in I guess really just this phase of my life. I just don't have time. My mental well-being is far too important than to even give strangers on the internet like a second of my time. So to wrap up, the answer to that question, a lot of it isn't just like the preparation of, oh, I'm going to the gym. Oh, I'm getting my outfits. Right. Oh, I'm like picking my earrings. That stuff has to happen. You gotta have clothes on when you get on the stage.
Right.
But even more than that, I'm preparing by like making sure I am my very best self, physically, emotionally, mentally. That is my focus. Everything else will fall into place the way that it needs to. Because again, my mental well-being is far too important than to let.
Do most of the sorry to interrupt.
No,
you.
I was done.
With that breath, that was a heavy
I was gonna say that was kind of
Yeah.
deep right there. Like that just kind of like came out of me. Yeah.
That's real though. People need to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
And that's no joke. But do you think that bro,
That's no joke.
It's not a joke, bro. Because like anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
Remember to breathe.
It's a thing.
I agree with you.
I was gonna say we're
just
not
the way you said it was
saying
funny.
The most simple
That's
things,
no
it
joke.
sounds like a joke. Oh my god! See, this is only child stuff, man. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so don't forget it. All right. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So yeah, you gotta go.
No.
No, it's fine.
My phone is just
No.
my watch. I can feel my watch just like zzz, 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 and I'm like, people give me honestly, like I should turn my ringer on because the way it's constantly like ding, ding, ding. Listen, we could create a little jam right
Choreo
here.
for it?
We could.
You should have came to the Worldwide Jam.
When was that?
Last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
Listen, I was not
You were
even
probably
here.
in.
I was down south.
We get it. Down south.
I was
Texas?
in Broken Bow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
There was like a boot camp.
That
like
sounded
a
like
training.
I didn't like Broken Bow.
Broken Bow. No, it was
that's
actually
not
a great time. The people there were really welcoming of us. We were there for a boot camp, like prep for Miss USA.
Got you.
was
Okay,
fun.
that's dope.
Yeah. Anyways, back to what you're saying.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't even remember.
Honestly,
so
yeah, I think we are.
I hope you got
past
it.
that. No, I think so. The future of all of that.
Yeah.
So I would say, I think that I would like to dig more into. I know we were probably running out of time too.
I'm good.
But for the whole thing of the whole social media side. Bingo. That.
Okay,
Here we
social
go.
media.
You see, do you think that like most of the girls that are involved with like either Miss Oklahoma or Miss America Universe, blah blah blah, like do you think that they have what you have in the sense of you have to do multiple things at once, a full-time job, Miss Oklahoma, and then all of these other things that come with it. You think that they have to do that as well? Their plate is as full, or do you think that they just focus on the pageants or whatever?
I think it depends. No shade to anybody.
Yeah, no
or
shade.
anything,
but I'm just wondering, like, 'cause it sounds like your plate is
So mine is full because it has to be. I have to support myself. I have to sometimes support I don't have necessarily a family of my own, but like my family.
Yeah.
I can't not work. I can't not, and even with the Thunder, like that's a job. It's not it's not a volunteer position.
Right.
So I have to do those things. I wish I didn't have to. And I think about it all the time. I'm like, man, sometimes when it's been a crazy day at work, I'm like, I am 2 seconds away from just I work from home. So just shutting my laptop and calling it quits.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't have a choice. And I think some girls are fortunate enough to have the choice. That's just not me. That's just not me yet. One day, have me back in a couple years, and I will have all the money and the freedom.
She'll
and
have
the time.
everything.
Ding ding ding. But no, I that's just not my reality. Right. As a young girl, middle school, high school, whatever, I kind of struggled with that because I didn't have like the latest and the greatest and the new and the flashy and the showy. But now that I've gotten older, it just is what it is. And so I think some girls are in similar situations, and it might look differently, right? Like I can sit here and say, oh my gosh, you don't have a job, you don't have this. Like it must be so easy for you, when really I have no idea with that.
There may be other pressure,
what that girl's going through.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to sit back and be like, oh, it's probably just me. Like all y'all have it so easy. I don't really know, but for me, I don't have that choice. And some girls do. Some girls do have the choice to focus on just one thing.
That's fire, and that's why I think that like people like you and even Aubriana, she was doing a lot as well, and so I was like where do y'all have time to balance all y'all stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's
and
crazy.
You legit seem like y'all are on the go 24/7.
Oh, 100%.
And so like even balancing, so like you already, cause we see you at the gym. So you already got the physical thing. Like you be doing that every day, right?
You be doing that.
Right. So, but then you also have the physical component of, the Thunder. And so like you're putting out a lot physically, you know what I'm saying? And that drains your emotion, right? So like, how do you regain the energy for your emotion side, your mental side? Like, what do you do? You meditate? Like, what do you do?
So I think one, it's knowing that that's going to come. So I was actually meeting with a trainer last week or so. Yeah. And he was like telling me, like, we were setting up a plan and we were discussing just like my outside life, not just like my physical fitness life, but just life in general and like all the things I have to do. And he said, you're going to be dragging booty is what it was essentially what he said. And he was like, you need to be prepared. Like you are going to have to like find it deep within your soul to keep going, because this is going to be hard. Right. So I think it was just like already being prepared for that. I even woke up this morning and called my mom and was like, Brian was right. I'm dragging. So I like already knew it was coming. Yeah. So I think it's sometimes that's where a lot of people mess up. They just automatically think, okay, I'm going to schedule out this week. I'm going to have this, and this, and I'm going to go from Monday to Friday, and it's going to be great. You need to already be prepared for yourself to hit a wall. And not in a bad way.
No. That was like a fire.
Expect the worst. No, that's not.
That's what a 6 does.
Really?
We expect the worst.
See, in a good way, expect yourself to need rest, because that is human nature. Expect yourself to need rest. Write that down. Yeah, write that down. But so I did. So I expected, to hit a slump, and then it's checking in with myself every single day. When I wake up in the morning, okay, these are the things I have to get done. These are the things I want to get done. What do I have the energy for? Because more important than anything on my to-do list, and like I said earlier, is my mental well-being. Yeah. What can I afford to give of myself today? What does that look like today? Because yesterday, maybe it was I got this done and I went here and I accomplished this. And today, I'm going to do well just to get out of bed and shower and cook myself a decent breakfast and clean my apartment. Like maybe that's all I'm going to get done today. Sometimes not even that much, but if I'm being honest.
Right.
So I think for me, it's recognizing that those things are going to come, that there's going to be moments where I need rest, and then evaluating what does that look like. Because again, I'm a planner and I want to know what's happening, what's going on. This is the schedule. I want to stick to it. Right. I think that's the worst thing you can do, because not only are things around you are going to change, you're going to change even within a couple of days, right?
We talked about it, yeah.
So I think for me, it's just recognizing I'm going to need rest and evaluating what that looks like when it comes.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
That is real. And that's
That
why
ain't
I was
no joke.
like your breath, bro. It's
You
not
gotta
a
breathe.
joke.
Seriously.
Wake up and breathe, dude.
Wake up, really. Take a breath.
Like for real. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I think that's just intense. And like even thinking about, the Thunder stuff, like you legit you're performing on stage there for thousands of people.
Yeah.
You're performing, for the pageants for thousands of people.
Yeah.
And then you going to another stage that's going to be in front of millions of people probably, right? And so like I feel like there's just so much pressure for you. And like
100%.
Whatever you got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even talking to like do you think that your 12-year-old self or something like that would have been like, this is what I wanted to do? Or like...
Yes. So I was one of those people, like I'm just waiting for my like Oprah moment where I can go, not that this is not like Oprah level.
It is, but it's fine.
It is. No, I agree. Well, what I mean, let me explain.
The shade, man. The shade.
No,
So
here's okay. To my 12-year-old self, in my 12-year-old self's mind, I always knew there was going to be a moment, and this might be it. I mean, heck, this really, and not even to be facetious, like this might be the moment, because I always knew I was meant to make an impact. And like I said, this very well, there may be someone watching this, someone listening to this, and the impact is made now. But I always knew. So my 12-year-old self, yes, knew that I was going to do something on a scale that was larger than myself and meant more than just myself.
Right.
So yeah, of course, like I never would have imagined it would have unfolded this way, especially just with the experiences I've had in my life as an individual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess my 12-year-old self expected this, but it's almost like an unexpected expectation. Like I expected this, but it's turned out in ways that I never would have expected.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I think yeah.
I feel bad about that Oprah comment now.
Oh no, it's fine.
You know what I mean.
We'll just edit it out.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm just
We're never having her back. Get her out of here.
No, it's hilarious. I don't take it. So my thing, I said I don't take it.
I know. Why did you?
I don't
take the
receive
hate.
anything you say at all, Ashley.
I rebuke.
No, I hope that this is the best interview you've had though. So
honestly, it seriously might be, and I've done a lot.
We made it, bro.
That's it.
We've made it.
Pinnacle. No. This has been great.
Appreciate it. So yeah, I think that those were pretty much all the questions I was gonna ask. But if there was anything for, you know what I'm saying, your either 12-year-old self or your somebody that is, going through the same things that you went through as like, during your very dark moments in life, or them just trying to figure out or needing motivation or anything like that in regards to mental health or like seasons in life and stuff like that, what's some things that you would be able to tell them?
I would have to say, remember that there is purpose in everything.
Ding.
Honestly, what are the odds of that? I didn't even mean to do that. That was not even planned. That was not, my hands are sweating. I don't think you want to high five me. But no, only because
there's nothing on.
Anyways, it is.
That's
it's a
real.
little. I said it was cold in here when I walked in, but now I'm getting kind of warm. Just so you know.
Do you see that?
Just so you know.
You see the cue?
Hint,
She said,
hint.
just so you know.
I just turned it on turbo. It'll be like ice in like 20
Blasting.
seconds.
If you can catch my vibe, fix it, Taylor. That's what she's saying.
Doing my best.
This is Miss Oklahoma, bro. Fix
It's hot.
it.
It's hot.
Oh,
I get
boy.
hot
I'm cranking
too.
it now.
That should be a shirt.
Everything or it's hot.
There's
You lost me. You lost me.
Just it's hot on a t-shirt.
My hands are sweaty. That'll be on the back.
it has your face on it with
My
the crown.
face?
Yes,
It
it's
says-
hot. I'm sweating. That would be so funny. This is our face on the back and on the front. It's hot.
It's hot.
I'm sweating.
It's hot. My hands are sweating. It's true though. My hands are actually sweaty.
Oh wow,
Feel
that's
them.
funny.
Do you feel it?
A little moist.
A little sweaty.
There's
But what should be on the shirt? It's hot.
There's a purpose.
Oh,
Let me say it. Let me say it. No,
let you finish.
there's a purpose in everything. I think that's fire.
I have a friend who created a side hobby of like stitching things onto sweatshirts, and
So
she was like,
embroidery.
yeah. I don't know. You know, with the sewing machine, how it's like,
Yes.
she does that with words on a shirt. And I might have to hit her up. That's where I was going with this, and ask her to put "there's a purpose in everything" on a shirt for me. Anyways, let me get back to what I was saying. I truly believe that there is a purpose in everything. Sometimes it's not always easy to see that purpose in that moment.
Yeah.
But there's been moments even now in my life where I'm like, man, this stinks. This is going wrong. This is unexpected. I feel bad because of this. But even in those moments now, because I've had the experience, I can tell myself this. And so that's why I tell other people, even in those moments, you have to remember, you know what? Eventually this is going to end.
Yeah.
Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually I'm going to get out of this. And the purpose in this is going to be so much greater than the hurt. So that's what I would tell. Is that good? You're looking that way. Like I
it's great
just,
stuff.
I always look to him to see if he liked it too.
did
so.
you like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Big
good.
time.
That was good stuff.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty
big
fire.
time.
Big time.
Oh, yeah,
But
big time.
no, for real, I
Yeah.
think it's just remembering that like there truly is. And so for me, like some of the darkest moments of my life have led to this. The purpose was this. The purpose was the impact that I've left. The purpose was the things that I've achieved. The purpose was whatever, you know? So I think also like patience. I think especially between the ages of like what, 12, 13, 14, and
like 24.
I'd say
25?
30.
On me, yeah,
like,
definitely.
100.
yeah, forever.
Right.
But no, really for real, I guess.
Because life is life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you can't predict what's gonna
Yeah.
happen. You
Yeah.
can own, and you cannot plan for what's gonna happen, but you can always prepare for it. Just like what we were
Yeah.
talking about. Like, you shouldn't. The expectation. That's the biggest thing for me. I've been on for probably the past couple months is the expectation for things, because I legit hate being let down. I think
Yeah.
everybody does.
Yeah.
You take that as a fail, and then you also take it as low key rejection.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's you letting yourself down or somebody else letting you down, it's like you're always doing that. But like if you have no expectation, I'd rather be surprised by a dope interview or like somebody exceeding themselves or you know what I'm saying, than me being like, I expect this out of you, and if you don't, because I got a 4-year-old, so like you know what I'm saying, if I'm
Do you
like,
really?
I do.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Oh, I love kids.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Jet.
Jet. Shout
yeah.
out to Jet.
Shout out to Jet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You have no social media, so you should not be seeing
yeah,
it, but you will someday.
someday.
Right. But yeah, so it's like,
You
why?
have no social media. Duh.
What? I mean, some kids these days.
That's true.
They come out the womb with an IG account.
They really do. Already like
that was
clicking
no
away.
joke at all.
I actually
either
have
way.
a friend. I have a friend who has all 3 of their kids have IG accounts from the moment they were born.
And that's just
the
crazy.
dad manages them.
Right, but like nonetheless,
right.
Like they don't have access to it, obviously.
I've
but they
seen
just
a
post
lot
They're
of
just
like
swiping with their nose.
the little baby fingers. I've seen a lot of like celebrities create Instagrams for their
For the kids.
children.
Yeah.
Which to me, I mean, I'm 25, a grown adult, and can handle myself. But like,
Can't handle yourself.
well, what I mean by that is like,
Yeah,
I
explain
can,
that one.
You know, when people say those nasty things about me on the
Oh,
internet,
yeah.
of course it hurts my feelings, but like I can bounce back from that.
Yeah.
Not that a 4-year-old is going to be able to see those things, but nonetheless, like, why would you want to
Right.
see those things written about your children?
Right. That's
So
true.
if you're already in the limelight, I just can't imagine subjecting your children
Yeah.
to. Doesn't make
my
sense
thing
to me,
is
but
too,
that's just me.
My thing is too. I wonder who follows these accounts.
Me.
Oh, you be following
No,
kids' accounts?
but I do look at that. Like,
Right.
that's how I know they exist because I've seen them.
Right.
I know I was being facetious.
Okay. Yeah, because
I don't know. Yeah.
it's either moms or like, hopefully just moms.
It's just moms. We're just gonna leave it at that.
Why would you need to be like, yeah.
I have no
So
idea.
yeah, but yeah,
Back to what we were saying.
but there is a purpose in everything, dude. Like, I think It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and that's what is. It makes you grateful for life, and this is what I've been saying too for the past couple months as well. Is like gratitude heals.
Yeah.
If you can be grateful and change your perspective on even the dark parts of your life, because your dark parts have what got you to the light, and the light is usually changing your perspective on what is dark.
Yeah. Wow. That was good. That was almost an everything moment, right? That right there was like almost. That was good.
Thank you.
Good.
But like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you see so many people go through hard times.
Right.
You see some people go through the worst times, but those people are the ones that have the most impact, right? But like, you don't always have to have a crazy story to have a crazy impact, right?
Right.
And so it's like, we posted that as well the other
That's
day.
good
But it's
too.
like, why are we always wanting to have the worst to think that we can have the biggest impact?
Yeah.
Some people, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember when I was growing up too, like some of my friends, like they had a way crazier story than I did.
Yeah.
And I was just downplaying my story the whole time because I'm like, well, I think I should,
Yeah.
go through boom, boom, boom
Yeah, it's
to
like,
be able to,
yeah.
have this cool thing on stage.
Right.
And then all these people are like, he went through that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like, it's dope to just be you.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
something I've realized, I have my degrees in psychology, but through just the path my life has taken, I've like, been exposed to a lot of like marketing and branding. And really all that is, and the only reason I say that, not to discredit, those stories, those crazy stories that have led to a crazy impact.
Right.
I mean, it's all for, I say, a purpose.
It is.
It's like emotion cells, right? So in order to, you're sitting on the Wendy Williams show and talking about how, you were living in your car. I don't know why Wendy Williams.
I was about to say, out of any show, you picked the Wendy Williams.
That's just the first one that came to mind, okay? Anyways, you're sitting with Wendy Williams.
Yeah.
That's her name, right?
I have no idea.
Do you even know who? You're just
I
laughing.
know,
Okay.
yeah. Did you see where she like seized out? Did you see that?
Yikes.
Like,
Let me
in
pick
the
a
middle-
different show.
No, it's fine.
Let's go with Ellen. How
It's not
about
like
Ellen?
She did that in every. Well, she's over now, but it's fine.
Oh, and this just got awkward. Anyways, let's switch the show just for respect of Wendy Williams. Ellen, you're sitting on Ellen, right?
There you go.
Ellen needs viewers. So, and it's hard. It's misleading because like as a young person, you're watching and you're listening to this person that you've looked up to or that you admire, and you're hearing about how this person overcame this and this and that and this, and you're like, well, my life doesn't really like I live in a nice home with both of my parents. My grandparents are still alive. I got a car when I was 16.
Yeah.
My life doesn't look like that. How am I going to make an impact because I don't have a tragedy? And all that is, it's not to say that like that person, with things going well for them can't make the impact. It's that media has to publicize emotion because emotion is what's going to get them viewers. Emotion sells.
Yes.
You can have the most average, normal, perfect, whatever you want to label it upbringing and still make an impact just as much as the person who was living in their car.
Facts. Definitely. Yeah, that's real. That is real. And it's like even during the times that I was like, thinking of the like, oh, I'm not making it, but really I was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you still got to think about the things that you're still overcoming.
Yeah, the impact is not what you've been through, it's what you're going to do. So it has nothing to do with what you've been through. Was that a ding moment? Ding.
Say it one more time.
The impact has nothing. What did I say?
Say it. I don't care. You got to figure
The
it
impact.
out.
You better figure it out. The
I'm just
impact
playing.
has nothing to do with what you've been through. The impact is what you're going to do.
Ugh.
Yeah. My phone is ringing, so I'm about to just silence this real quick.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was driving a houseboat, coincidentally enough,
Wow.
when this woman, I guess you'd call her the captain of the boat. I mean, it was her boat. She lived there. But
and
this,
you just took it over and
I
started
said,
driving
excuse me,
it?
ma'am. I've got
Where's the
places
keys
to
to
be. You're coming with me. No, she had us for dinner.
You're saying you hijacked a boat?
Pretty much. I was like, here we go. We're
Right.
getting out of here.
True pirate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, with permission.
Right, of
I
course,
was
of course.
driving her houseboat, and she said, I think I got this wrong, actually, but it works when I say it like this. I think she said it opposite, which had to have been a mistake because it doesn't make sense this way.
Yeah.
But she's essentially saying, in order to steer and drive a boat that big, when you look in front of you, that's where you're going. And when you look behind you, that's where you've been.
Right.
And that just really stuck with me. I think she said it opposite. Because I think when you're driving like a boat, but that doesn't make sense. Look behind you, that's where you're going. No one wants to go backwards. So that's what I'm going with. I've kind of rebranded it myself. When you look in front of you, that's where you're going. When you look behind you, that's where you've been.
Yeah.
Where you've been sometimes can direct where you're going. But more importantly, you have the wide open space in front of you.
Yeah.
So you get to choose where you go. Where you've been has nothing to do with where you're going to go sometimes. So yeah, like I said, I just think, we think of impact and we think, oh, we need this story and this like a sob story. I hate to say that, but it's true. Something that makes you sad, something that makes you cry, relate to, whatever. That's not always the case. Anybody can make an impact.
That's real. That is real. And that's why, like, even on our social media, we don't want to find a safe way to put it. We don't want to promote the sadness that we encounter. So, like, we actually, like, obviously, we're in front of thousands of students all the time.
Yeah.
We hear so many stories.
Yeah.
Other people would probably get those things on film and then be like all the time posting those things. Our thing is, like, we want to be able to promote and push the experience that you were impacted by all the time.
That's good.
And so, like, every once in a while, there's going to be, like, maybe, somebody on the team that maybe shares an experience, but nobody from, the crowd is going to be, like, exposed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like then you're turning people into product.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because then...
And that is our world right now.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
That's a deep one for sure. I feel like we need to do a round 2 of
part 2
of everything.
I don't know. Of everything.
Ding.
So, but for real, I know you don't. You got things to do, people to see, and boats to steer. So if you can look into this camera, tell them where they can follow you at, and stay tuned for everything that you got going. So.
Everything. You just said it again.
Sorry.
Perfect way to end it. Yeah. So I'm on all social media platforms. You can find me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is Ashley, ASHLEY _Erhart. That's EHRHART. Also on the Miss Oklahoma USA Instagram, and that is Miss MISSOK USA, as well as TikTok. What else am I forgetting? Facebook. Miss Oklahoma USA is the official Facebook page. My personal Facebook might be a little weird, so maybe don't find me on Facebook. But yeah, really just anywhere that you get your social media news from, I'm there as well. So
perfect. Have you ever thought about being a news anchor?
Listen, I get it all the time. I get that after I was on the radio. I get that after I do something like this. We're gonna end this, and you're gonna be like, "You should be a podcaster," which I actually do have a podcast. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it needs some work. I might have to.
I was about to say.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Yeah. And if you need a guest, I mean, I'll come on there.
Oh,
whatever you need.
I'll do it.
You can ask some questions. I'll answer them. Whatever you want to do. No, that's dope. Okay. Yeah. What's it called?
A Minute to Mind.
Taking
a minute to mind the things that matter and try not to dwell too long on the things that don't.
Are the episodes all a minute?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little deceiving. Okay, so
I need to rebrand that one.
No, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, go follow her on everything and anything. Ashley, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
This was great.
We are honored, and be sure to follow her on anything and everything. And so, yes, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Generation Y podcast. We'll see you next time.